Hi, I'm Jurgen Willis with Microsoft here at the big Microsoft Ignites conference. Pleased to be here with Harish from Veritas, who's a platinum sponsor of our Ignite conference this year. Harish, I know you've got a lot going on here at the conference. I had an interview with NASDAQ yesterday. Tell me some of your impressions from Ignite.
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having me, Jurgen. So, like I mentioned yesterday, I think Satya's keynote was very insightful. There are a couple of things that I thought was very relevant to Veritas and what Microsoft and Veritas can do together. He talked about the fact that compute is happening around us. With that comes additional data because of all these smart devices that we're surrounded with. Proliferation of data is a big challenge. He also talked about tech intensity, which is really a combination of a couple of factors. One, as a customer, I need to go after the best software I can get to solve rudimentary issues that is not my core expertise. I need to build and innovate on top of it. So if we combine these two together, the proliferation of data has a lot of challenges. How do I protect it? How do I govern it? I need to have visibility, I need to classify it. How do I leverage cloud and make sure that I got the optimal infrastructure to solve all of these challenges around it? If Microsoft and Veritas can help with that piece of it, then I can continue innovating and not worry about this. So maybe we start our conversation around that, Jurgen. I think we're super excited to be a partner with Microsoft. I think the future is bright for both the companies. Maybe I'd start off talking about some of the use cases that we can solve together for our customers. It starts off with, what do I do with cloud? I'm not going to move all of my application, all of my data to the cloud. So the first thing I want to do is, I need to have a solution that will allow me to have visibility to the data. I need to be classifying that data and then figure out what I move to the cloud. So Veritas is super excited. We have a solution that helps customers do just that. The second piece of it is, now that I know what I have to move to the cloud, I need to do it in a frictionless way, very seamless, so it's convenient for me. Veritas is a solution that allows customers to do just that. In a matter of 3 clicks, we will help you move the data to the cloud. Maybe you can tell a little bit about why customers should choose Microsoft Azure and why this combination is going to be very palatable for customers.
Yeah, absolutely, and all of that resonates. Each customer is at a different place in their journey to the cloud as they move workloads. Combined with the data explosion brings these challenges. From an Azure standpoint, Azure is going to be a great place to go land that data. From the standpoint of regional reach, as we start talking about compliance and data residency and so on, being able to have a large regional footprint that customers can choose among. When we look at our geo-redundant storage, where we can automatically replicate data across regions, having 13 countries and growing, where companies can have a disaster story across multiple regions, hundreds of miles apart, while still keeping data in country. As well as the compliance portfolio that we have, which is a statement both in terms of the breadth of compliance certifications that we support, but really then diving into the depth of the compliance certifications, the number of controls that we have, and so on. We've continued to be a leader in the public cloud in terms of those compliance controls on top of the data, and then of course the security guarantees, just the hundreds and hundreds of engineers that we have that spend their lives every day ensuring that that data is protected within the cloud.
There you have it. So, the journey doesn't stop there. Once we are in the cloud, we still have to protect the data in the cloud. So Veritas again has a solution that protects the data once we have taken the data from on-premise to the cloud, and we got a solution for that. The only other thing I would talk about is, there's still, tape that is still there as a legacy of our infrastructure. I still don't understand why customers would even entertain that, especially with a modern solution that provides the same TCO with 5x better throughput and performance. It blows my mind that it still exists. But maybe you can talk about our last meeting and some of the disaster recovery things that we talked about.
Yeah, that's right. We met a couple months ago, talked about the different use cases. We want to make sure collectively where we have a great story for customers on Azure. I don't run into organizations who love managing their tape libraries.
Yeah.
and really don't see many organizations doing the refresh of their tape libraries and so on. They're keen to move that data, essentially make all of that infrastructure management, essentially our challenge. As you note, they want to be selective about what data they're moving and so on, and your classification mechanism certainly help them with that. And the other element too, and Satya brought this up in his keynote, is leveraging the cloud allows customers to really immediately take advantage of new capabilities, new hardware form factors, et cetera, that we light up. That's a compute statement, but that's also a storage statement, right? In terms of as we expose new tiers of storage, we've talked about publicly, really innovative things we're doing around glass storage and maybe DNA storage long term and so on. The ability for customers to really in a single sort of click say, okay, I want to move to this tier, I want to take advantage of some of these new capabilities and so on, and not really have to think about what's all of my existing investments in infrastructure and depreciation cycle, all of that. What are the capabilities you want to leverage right now and be able to take advantage of that and focus on the business innovation using the tech intensity that we're all collectively working on together.
Right. Excellent. There you have it. Tech intensity coming together between Microsoft and Veritas. We help you solve the fundamental issue around the data layer so you can build on top of it and innovate and have more market share and more wallet share. Jurgen, thank you so very much.
Good seeing you again.
All right.